Hello there, thrill seekers. Ziggy was pretty sick this morning. He barfed all over the bed, and then he had a little accident on the floor, and I had to rush him outside. And he hasn't eaten yet this morning. I'm gonna feed him some brown rice, which I read was good for dogs who've been sick. But that's not your problem. I just thought I'd let you know. But there he is. He seems to be doing a lot better right now. He was playing earlier, so I think he's okay. So let's see. This morning's Monday moldy oldie is from March 5th, 2009. That was my birthday in 2009, and it's Ventura College, and I have shown bits of this talk before, but this is a different bit. And in this part, I am answering a question which I get all the time, which is somebody who says, well, my line of work requires me to think a lot, and how do I deal with zazen, letting go of thinking, when I am doing a job every day that requires me to think? I believe the questioner is an engineer. And this is a question that's relevant to my life because I have a job in which I have to think all the time. Think about it. I'm a writer. I write books, so I have to think about the books I'm writing. I'm a YouTuber, so I have to think about the YouTube videos that I'm doing. In fact, just now I finished doing zazen, and I did something a little unusual. Usually I put these videos together after I do zazen, but because of Ziggy being sick, and then I had to make the brown rice and it took forever to boil and everything, I put the video together while I was boiling the rice, the clips that I'm going to show you. And then when I went to sit zazen, waiting for the rice to cool, which I'm going to feed to Ziggy right after I get done doing this introduction, I was thinking about my intro to this video that you're watching right now. And of course that's going through my mind, and of course I'm also trying to sit zazen and let go of that, but I can't let go of it completely because it's my job, so I gotta come up with something to say, which is what I'm saying right now. So all of it's going on, and what I'm doing during zazen is I'm kind of letting it percolate in the less conscious regions of my brain. Of course, it is hitting the conscious regions of my brain, and I, am manipulating it a little bit there when I'm doing zazen, but for the most part, just letting it kind of percolate down there underneath. And that's been my solution to this dilemma of what to do when you have a job that requires you to think all the time, and then you're trying to do zazen without thinking. And then you will see that I give an answer to the guy in Ventura College in 2009 that's, roughly similar. And then it gets on to a bit of a question about the nature of consciousness and thought and the interactions therein. The woman who asked the second question, seems to be from a yogic tradition, because she brings up Rajas, Tamas, and what's the other one? Sattva, which are the three gunas, which at the time I had heard of, but these days I've studied it more closely. Still, I don't think my answer would be too different. It would be a little different today than it is, because I have a bit more knowledge of what Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva mean. At the time, I just knew, that's that Hindu thing that they talk about. I didn't know exactly the details of it. But you'll see me give the answer there. And anyway, I've probably gone on way too long. I hope you enjoy this little slice of life from March 5th, 2009 at Ventura College. I'm going to go give Ziggy some brown rice. Remember that the donation information is at the end of this video, and that is my major way of making a living, and I really appreciate your support. But as always, you don't have to donate if you don't want to, because this is offered for free. Donation information will be at the end. Remember to like and subscribe. I never say that because I always forget, but that does help too. So let's take a look at me in Ventura College on my birthday in 2009.
Yeah, it's really interesting. segueing right into the kind of question I've been having for a while. So when you're talking, you're implying that okay, your thoughts are going wild on occasion, and but you're aware of it.
Yeah.
And you're watching it. There's an observer. There's something. And my most frequent experience is I'm an engineer. I make a living thinking about things. And I describe it metaphorically just my eyes roll back in my head, and I just go on long streams of discursive thought, which is fine.
Yeah, it's useful.
I've been doing this for too long. But suddenly I become the observer or whatever, become aware of this. And my question is, do you just try to like chop it off and come back to the present, or do you just kind of follow it and just let it dissipate?
Well, I've given up on trying to chop it off myself. Are you talking about during during zazen practice or during? Yeah. I've given up on trying to chop it off. I have done that, you know, in my own time, and it's never worked very well. So, what I kind of feel like these days is when I find myself doing that, the thing to do is just stop. It's not a process of. I had thought that it was a process of trying to stop something, but that seemed to be the wrong answer. And the answer I've come up with for now is that it's more of a process of not adding to it. So rather than trying to put a cap on it and stop it, I'll now just try not to add anything else. So it'll go. But once you stop adding anything else to it, it's just going to be like, hey, but no, okay. And eventually, you know, and it might take a while. If you're doing a job that requires you to think a lot, well, you're using that and you're putting some energy into it, and you know, it takes time to calm down.
Yeah, no, I'm not being saying if there's anything wrong.
No,
what
yeah.
approach to take.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's useful. It's like we thought is very useful, but we make the mistake of thinking. I'm not saying you personally do, but we all kind of make the mistake of thinking it's ultimately useful. Like there's an answer to be found in thought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's no answer to be found in thought. There just isn't, which is very difficult to accept. I mean, I know it's been very difficult for me to accept, but there's just no answer in thought. It can answer specific questions. You know, like should I tighten the screw or loosen the screw? It can answer questions like that, but like more ultimate questions of meaning and so forth, it just doesn't work.
I'm wanting your take on the connection between mind and spirit, or physical and thought. Is there, Sattvic or Jasic tendency?
I'm aware of that. I know that that's like in yoga.
Well, I'm just curious how you feel about, he's saying that I've noticed the observer quality of thought, and if you can have a lifestyle that's more on the calm side, that observer actually sees thought less rough or less, it mellows down.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah, but even separating it out, this has like been a question for me, like a philosophical question I've had about the observer, because we're all kind of aware that that there seems to be thought and there seems to be someone thinking that thought that's not thought, you know. But that's kind of a linguistic trick that we play with and that we believe, but that doesn't, when you're actually in the midst of it, that doesn't seem to be what's really going on. That there's just something, and one component of that something of consciousness is thought, but then there's a whole consciousness that isn't composed of thought at all. But as far as like did you want to the connection
between the depth of meditation or observing your thoughts and the lifestyle that you live? With
well,
anything from food to
yeah.
around.
There's definitely something to that. In a Buddhist monastic practice, you're actually going, waking up at 4:30 in the morning and doing zazen all day and doing prescribed tasks, and you go through this process. You'll go through like a miniature version of it in a retreat, where everything about your day is very prescribed, and that has a very calming effect because you no longer have to really think about anything. 'Cause it's all been figured out 2,000 years ago. What we need to do to get through the day. It's figured out. We don't have to worry about it. Just do this and this. And this.
The physical part.
Yeah, the physical part and the mental part. You just do the tasks as they come up and leave them behind as you're done. So that's part of living a lifestyle that keeps you calm. And as far as diet and things are concerned, actually, I was just reading about this. This was something Dogen's teacher had written, where he goes through a long list of things that if you're a Buddhist practitioner you shouldn't do, and you shouldn't. There were things you should never eat meat. You should take milk in moderation. You should take sugar in moderation. There's some weird ones. You should not eat olives. Comes up. Don't view big fish is my favorite one. Which is actually kind of relevant. Yeah, no going to SeaWorld. That's out. But actually, this was something that people would do in ancient China. It was people would have these big fish in ornamental ponds to kind of impress each other. So don't view big fish as sort of like, I'm trying to think of a good equivalent here. Don't be impressed by Ferraris or something. Yeah, it's like that kind of an idea. So there is that. For myself, I just find myself naturally falling into close to that lifestyle, but I still break it. It's kind of important to find your own way through it. So the reason I tend not to talk about that so much is I don't know, maybe I have too much faith, but I have a little bit of faith that people who are doing the practice will find their way to that without somebody telling them, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. But I think it definitely has a real effect. Getting up at a decent hour and not doing drugs, and when you first become a Buddhist officially. There's a thing you do called the jukai. It's a ceremony where you accept the Buddhist precepts. And there's a list of 10. Actually, there's 16 precepts, but the 10 are the big ones. And like don't kill, don't steal. They're very similar to the 10 Commandments in some cases. Don't misuse sexuality is one. Don't do drugs. Which, depending on who you receive the precepts from, can be worded differently. Sometimes it's no selling of liquor. Did you even know it? And
I went jukai from that guy.
No, when I gave somebody the jukai ceremony, though, I got to that point about no selling of liquor, and I just was like halfway cracking up because I really wanted to say, because you have to repeat it 3 times, no selling of liquor.
Yeah.
Liquor, didn't even know it. Sorry. So that's
Totally enough.
anything else on that note? Any more bad jokes?